Hi, George Sanders here, President, Goldcliff Resource Corporation. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. We continue to wait for analytical results from our Ainsworth Silver Project work completed this fall, and we thought it would be instructive to talk a little bit about the process and some of the protocols for data disclosure, and in the process of that brief discussion, hopefully address some common investor misconceptions. So all of you watching will know that there's a length of time between when a company delivers samples to an assay lab and receives those results back from the assay lab. What I'd like to talk about today is a little bit of the process of what happens after those results are received. Many investors think that a news release should come out as quickly as that afternoon or the next morning, and so we wanted to explain the actual time frames that go into this. With the aid of all technology today, it's very easy to integrate spreadsheets, the raw analytical data with sample locations and or drill logs and geology, that type of thing. But really there's a length of time for interpretation of the data, which is very important. If that data is going to be disclosed, it has to have important context to it, context to perhaps what new information it's providing us with, and context from the setting of the previous work and previous results from that particular project. So that work, while it doesn't take weeks or even multiple days, it does take longer than a few hours and a few days. Importantly, once that's done, good protocol suggests that it's checked at least 2 more times to ensure accuracy. So what we're dealing with here are 2 fundamental securities regulation and legislation issues, being 1, timely disclosure, and 2, being full, complete, and true disclosure. And so while all companies will work towards getting the information out as soon as possible, we also have to ensure that it's not just accurate, but that it's in a proper context. So investors should know that that process takes several days, sometimes a week, week and a half, before a news release can be crafted. The next thing we wanted to talk about is the news release, how this is prepared and how it's disseminated to the investment community. So in the case of Goldcliff, what we will do is I will craft the initial draft. I will, because I've been in contact with the technical team and the qualified person, I will be privy to what the results are, and I might take my hand at a paragraph explaining that, and or I might just put a big blank where I'm saying to the QP, please fill in the information and details here. So that's a process that will go back and forth, usually for more than several returns, often up to a day, sometimes a day and a half. Once we have a document that we're happy with, then that document will go for input from the board of directors. And that process, I've seen it go by in the course of hours, but usually there are little typos, grammatical things, sometimes a suggestion of rewording, and that'll go back and forth because it's a multi-person discussion, and so you can have another couple of days go by before one has a release that's ready for distribution. Now some companies find themselves in releasing dramatically new and information that could be construed by an intelligent investor to be market significant, and so oftentimes those news releases will be run by the company's solicitor. There may or may not be a halt of the stock recommended, and if that's the case, then the regulators get involved in editing the news release, and so that process can take, as you can see, more than a couple of days. So just because the company is in receipt of analytical results or an assay certificate from the laboratory does not mean that you should expect the news release the next day. Moreover, if we have accompanying maps as part of the news release and or posted on the website, or videos like these or interviews, then those have to be prepared and recorded and be ready to go with the distribution of the news release. And again, that takes a little bit of time. What I did want to address is that certainly in our company and in other companies where I'm either a current board member or have been a board member, there are protocols in place to address the shall we say, manipulation of the timing of release of both good news and bad news. And there are protocols in place with respect to tipping or leakage, as they say. And so I can tell you that in Goldcliff's case and in the case of most other companies today, when a drill program is underway, all insiders will be issued a blackout notice. Now, blackout notice means no trading in the securities of the company, but it also means you're not to discuss what you may or may not know or think about the ongoing drill program or what the results therefrom might indicate. So most insiders in most companies that have a protocol and have a procedure for this are blacked out and aren't going to discuss it, aren't going to be leaking it, aren't going to be trading against it. And when I first came into this business in the late 1970s, there wasn't a lot of that, primarily because most junior companies were run by stock market individuals and not by geologists or engineers. That's not the case so much anymore, and most companies have in place strong protocols for full, true, plain, and timely disclosure. And we look forward to our next release, hopefully in the not too distant future, and when it comes, you now have an idea of the work that went into it.